Welcome back, my friends, and please allow me to reflect briefly on the message of Jesus as we have explained it so far. Okay, Jesus never talked about God. He talked about his Father, and he talked about he who is from above. His Father turned out to be his body, and he who is from above turned out to be his soul. What Jesus taught applies to all Homo sapiens, the Homo sapiens that are before him and after him. Jesus describes man as having two components, a body and a soul, one orbiting the other. The body gives birth to the soul asexually. That's why Jesus calls the soul an exact image of the body. The soul does not leave the body at death. It does so only when the brain loses mass so as to gradually reduce its gravitational grip on it. Once freed from the gravitational pull of the brain, the souls of all Homo sapiens display a tendency to rise. All reasoned souls lock up to form a gathering that looks like a circle. Because the body is in the middle of an environment, the duplication process calls for the soul to be surrounded by an environment. Jesus is at the center of the gathering, drawing all souls to himself, thus forming a nucleus. This is the kingdom. But because its environment is locked up with the other souls' environments, to move to the center, the soul will have to give up its environment. Once at the center, to remain inside, the souls will have to exchange something in common, namely the memory of Jesus' death. It is at this point, only at this point, that Jesus will help certain souls move to the center to achieve the equilibrium of the system. That means that the soul should arrive at the gathering with a weak bond to its environment. Jesus is the only Homo sapien that so loved mankind that he offered all the Homo sapiens rest for their souls. It is at the core of the gathering that a Homo sapien soul will find its rest. The souls of all Homo sapiens are, in our body language, made out of light that is white. The pursuit of knowledge is a relentless journey. It knows no barriers. In the pursuit of knowledge, there is no right or wrong, but there is rich and poor. Because man is in the middle of an environment, he should remain a conscientious observer. Love is a binding factor, a danger to the soul who wants to travel to the center. Let your wealth be your knowledge, that is, the sum of your images. Go through life like passers-by and travel light. If the manipulators, subduers, and leaders continue to manipulate, subdue, and lead, none of them will make it to the kingdom. Now, before I stop, I have two things to share with you. First is that when you understand that message of Jesus, you can edit any writing, that is presented to you concerning him. Anything they put in front of you, you will know right away what he said, what he is likely to have said, what has been deleted, what has been added, what has been just fiction around his character, and so on and so on. You will be able to do it so easily that within a few seconds, you can sift, through anything, the regular book, speeches, writings, opinions, discussions, anything, and you will be able, to navigate through that so easy that you will see the beauty of it all. I'll give you an example. You know that in the regular book, it is says, it is said that Jesus said, well, birds have nests, and you have a place to sleep, but the Son of Man doesn't have a place where to put his head. Well, think about, what we just talked about Jesus so far, and you will understand within seconds that he did say that. And why does the Son of Man doesn't have a place to put his head? Because the Son of Man is his soul, and the soul is in constant motion around the brain. It knows no rest. Okay, now the last question I want to touch upon is Jesus' link to God. And here, I'd like to share with you a small little graph here. When Jesus has drawn his model of man in an environment and the model of the kingdom, he talked about a circle and he talked about orbital motion. That means that if he talked about these two things that appear, in microcosm of the atomic structure of matter, of the macrocosm, which is the universe in its entirety, they all go around in circles, and they all go through orbital motion. That means, if he talked about these two aspects, of the universe we live in, he has touched upon two universal constants, pi and phi. These two universal constants are mathematical constants that you find anywhere in the universe, anywhere in our environment. Anywhere you study, these two constants are going to always come up. That means that they're everywhere in nature. And everywhere in the universe we live in, and actually everywhere where we belong, really. Okay? I'll repeat that just one more time, so that I'll come to a brief conclusion. You find these two mathematical constants, pi and phi, everywhere you go and in everything that exists. In the lingo of Jesus, you find them in everything that is. Well, let's consider them then the footprints of God.